Hi, this is Dr. Darwin, the new dentist coach, with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin on the New Dentist podcast show, where you guys ask questions about getting into dental school, getting into residency, and then life after residency and after dental school. Be sure to tune in every week, as I will be posting new videos throughout the week, and I don't want you guys to miss these videos. Again, you can make sure that you are interacting, sharing, leaving comments. If you like today's video, make sure you leave us some comments and also share, and then turn on your notifications so that when these videos come out, you're notified and so that you don't miss them. In today's video, in today's session, we're going to be talking about how to prepare to apply to pediatric dentistry programs, some tips, and some possible dilemmas or some barriers that you may find and some ways of overcoming them. So today we're joined with student Dr. Darius Sanford. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great now that we are connected.
Yes, I know. It took some time.
It did take some time, but just like dental school is a process, applying to pediatric residency programs, pediatric dentistry program is a process too. So looks like you are starting that process now. So let's dive into it a little bit. So first tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then also let's talk a little bit more about your situation and what your question is. So first, let's tell us about yourself.
Okay. I'm currently a D3 student at the University of Louisville. And so I knew that I was interested in pediatrics as of this year. It kind of confirmed it when I started my pediatric rotation. And so I've been doing a lot of community service and stuff dealing with kids. And I definitely thought I wanted to pursue this specialty. So I was reaching out so I could, get some tips on how I can become a competitive applicant. A little bit about myself. Right now, I'm really into weight training and fitness, and I teach a fitness class right now at my undergrad. And so, so that's pretty much the basis of it.
Okay, sounds good. So straight from Louisville, huh?
Well, I went to undergrad at University of Georgia, but I'm currently going to school at the University of Louisville School of Dentistry.
Okay, got some colleagues and actually got some residents in our actually my GPR program that have finished up at Louisville
Right.
as well. So tell us a little bit about your desire and interest in pediatric dentistry and some of the problems or barriers that you're finding as part of this process.
Right. So a little bit about my journey. I've always had a passion for working with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to serve as a positive role model. I think so many children need positive role models in their life that, they might not be getting through their parents. And so I think as a pediatric dentistry is a unique opportunity to be able to set a good example and kind of set them off on the right foot at an early age and, really prevent a lot of the oral disease that we're seeing in the adult population, as of a result of, bad habits that were started at a younger age. So I also think pediatrics is a very fun career, but it's also serious. And I like being able to balance, that aspect of having serious conversations with parents and still being able to have fun and connect with the children and gain their trust. And as of now, I think one of my largest barriers would be just my class ranking and some of the scores that I've made my first and second year of dental school. I think that might be one of the setbacks. But aside from that, I'm really excited to get the process going. And like I said earlier, I just really want to become a competitive applicant so that I can gain admittance into a pediatric residency program.
Okay. Well, you hit on two things that are very, very important, which is your class rank, GPA, and the fact that it is competitive. It is very competitive, man. I mean, you're competing for approximately, I think it's like 300 slots all across the country. Most programs for pedo take anywhere from 5 to 6 people on on average, maybe a little bit less depending on the program. There's some programs that take more, of course. So it's a tough residency, but it's also a really, really popular residency right now. A lot of people are applying to Pedo right out of school, and then even those there are people that are coming back into the specialty after being in general practice and practicing for sometimes 5, 6, 7, even 10 years. So a lot of competition. I think about 3 or 4% of those that apply are actually getting into those slots. So, two of the things that they look at is class rank, like you said, and GPA. But you got to keep in mind, right now there are some schools, some programs where there is no class rank, there is no GPA. So how do those people fare in the evaluation process? So it's not just only about that. It's also about your personal statement. And for some programs, they want you to do a GPR. I know some of the New York programs and some feedback I've been getting from residents that are applying to New York GPR programs, they want you to have some experience.
Right.
And each program is different. So that's something that you're going to have to really kind of dive in and kind of look at. Unfortunately, there is no, outside of the list of schools that are present in the ADIA and PASS application website, as far as all the different residency programs for pediatric dentistry, they will tell you how many spots. They'll tell you about the website. They'll tell you what things are needed for the application process. But unfortunately, there's not a guide like there is for dental school about more in-depth information about the program. So some of that you're going to have to kind of do yourself. You're going to have to, investigate, utilizing student doctor network, but also using, and now this is a plug just for me, using my network, because I've been interviewing and talking to a lot of students that have been applying to Pedo, and have interviewed some people, not only who are in the same position that you were in a couple of years ago, but now are actually in Pedo programs, and they can tell you, you can, check out a couple of my videos. Actually, there's one right there you can check out about surviving your first year of pediatric dentistry. And then also a couple of videos that have former GPR residents that have actually matched. And they tell us, they've told me and shared with me a little bit about their whole interview process, things they like, things they could have done better, all of which are things that help you right now as you're going through this process. So one of the things, with you being a D3, one of the things that, things that you can do right now is, as far as GPA, there's really probably not too much more you can really do GPA wise. Right. So whether you have a 3.0 or above or below, there's really not too much that you're going to be able to really do. Right. Same thing with class rank. I mean, unless, 1/4 of your class just drops out and you shoot up a little bit higher, that's not going to happen either, right? So things that you can affect are things like the ADAT, right? Are you familiar with that exam?
Yeah, it's an extra exam that you can take. I know a lot of the schools that don't necessarily go off of, they go off the pass-fail system. I know a lot of students decide to go that route. Now, is that something that would be recommended for, a school that doesn't have that system as well? As far as the applicant?
Well, see, you gotta kind of think about the programs and how they are, what tools they're using to evaluate candidates. Before all the schools were pass-fail, you had a GPA, you had board scores, part 1 and part 2, that had a numeric value to it, and you had class rank. Well, all 3 of them for some schools are pretty much taken away. So they still get candidates from those schools. So how do they rank them in comparison to other candidates from other schools with those credentials, so to speak, or with those GPAs and those numbers? So, it's more about, so the only other exam that they have right now that pedo programs may or may not use is the ADAT, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though some programs say it's optional and some programs may not even have it, I've had some residents say that they are glad they took it because it gave them another credential so that they could have their candidacy looked at maybe in a different light just because they did take the exam and maybe somebody else didn't take it, whether it was required for that program or not.
Okay.
So I would say it's not something that's gonna. I'm thinking that it's more of something that can help you versus not having it and not having something that's going to help you distinguish yourself in comparison to all the other candidates, right? Because you got to remember, probably for each position that each program has, there's probably at least 10 people applying for that same position. If you were to do the numbers, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that makes sense.
and it's probably more than that. It's probably, like 13 or 14 people applying that are trying to fight for that one position that's out there that's available in the program. So you have to kind of keep in mind, what am I doing or what can I do that's going to make me stand out in this whole stack of all these other applicants?
Right.
And one of the things is going to be the ADAT, because not everybody's going to take that exam, especially because it's a little bit more money. It's more time. You got to study for it. It's another exam. Some people, so as a student, you're like, man, I'm blowing this off. I'm not taking this. If I don't have to take it for a particular program that I'm applying to, I ain't taking it. I don't have the time, or just whatever it is. But that can also be used to your advantage too.
Gotcha.
Right. So again, the thought is, I've got to make myself known. I've got to have my credentials. If my GPA is a little bit low, my ranking is not, top 10. What else can I do to help elevate my candidacy? So that's one way, the ADAT, taking that exam and having a score for that. Another thing is doing a GPR. Like I said, some programs recommend having a GPR, not only just because of the experience, but more so some GPR programs may have a pedo rotation, or they may have a part of the program where the residents have exposure to pedo, whether they're seeing pedo patients 12 and under, or they have a rotation. I know at our program, residents have a 2-week rotation in pedo/ortho, where they actually get a chance to work shoulder to shoulder with the pediatric dentistry residents. They go to the OR. They are able to interface with the attending, so they get that exposure. And I know some people, at some schools, they have a pedo rotation and they get some of that. But also having that as part of your GPR program is beneficial, I think, as well too.
Absolutely.
Another thing, a strategy that I would consider for you at this point is, you've got to go visit the programs, man. At the end of the D3 year and before the start of the D4 year, and before the applications start opening up for, for the pedo class starting in 2021, you've got to go to the programs. All right. So at some point, once you've determined where you want to go to program, or programs that you're considering, especially the ones that are close to you in your area where you're in your dental school, you may come up with 10 or 15 programs that are on your list. And the more of those programs that you can go do a site visit, the better. For a couple of reasons. Number one, it'll allow you to get exposure. You can see face-to-face, hand-in-hand, meet the residents, see the program, and get more information that way. Number two, you expose your face. They see you, you see them, as a precursor to them eventually possibly seeing your application on their desk in a couple of months, right? Again, you're trying to stand out from this whole gigantic, just large pile of other applicants that are fighting and applying for the same position. So you got to find something that's going to help you stand out. So
Right.
going to the programs is going to help. Another strategy is going to the pedo meeting. Every year there's a pediatric dentistry meeting that they meet on an annual basis. American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry. You're familiar?
Yes, I've actually I registered to go to the SSPD convention, the one that's in the southeastern, or the one that's in Atlanta in January. So I will be attending that one.
You said SSG. What is that?
SSP. I think it's the Southern Society of Pediatric Dentistry.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
awesome. So that's good. You get a chance to hear about some of the new developments in pediatric dentistry, some of the new issues that they're confronted with as a specialty. But also make sure when you go to that meeting, you need to look for the alumni association happy hour / reunions that they have. And I say that because those are the opportunities where you'll have programs that are represented, where alumni will gather, even if it's just for a couple of hours. They'll come back and they'll gather and reunite, and they may have a little event or something. But that's your opportunity to go meet. Maybe the program directors are there, former alums are there. You get to show your face. You get to see them. You get to interact and talk to them about the program and get some answers to questions that you may have that you just can't find online, or you just can't, find out about because you don't know anybody that went to that program. But I tell you, if once you start with this process and coming up with a list of places that you think that you may be interested in, you let me know, and I'll tap into my network of people, pediatric dentists or former new dentists that either have they're at those pedo programs currently, or that have finished their program, and so that we can get you connected with them, because talking to those people is very, very key as part of this process, because they're going to also share with you what they would do differently. And that's the kind of information you need to know so that you're really strategic and really have your process mapped out so you don't waste time and you don't waste your investment. Because I know applying to these programs can be kind of hefty depending on how many you apply to.
Absolutely.
So those are some real quick strategies that I would recommend for you right now as a E3. Given the fact that, those other barriers, you just can't, you're not in a position to really change.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, was that something that you had thought about thought about as far as maybe doing a GPR?
Absolutely. Yes, I was actually, my plan was to apply to a couple of GPR programs in conjunction with pediatrics, just to kind of see, what options I'll have.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not opposed to doing a GPR. I like the hospital setting. So, yeah.
Yeah, because keep in mind, one of the things as a pediatric resident, as part of your curriculum, you will be going to the OR. So if you've got some OR experience that you can talk about, that's relatable and can be transferred to your training, or transferred as a candidate for training in pediatric dentistry, the better. So you want to find some GPR programs that you go to the OR. Like I said, for our program, we actually have the dental residents go to the OR with the pediatric dentistry residents, so they get that exposure and they can see how they are managing those cases in the OR, and that gives you that exposure as well.
Absolutely.
So, are you thinking about staying in the Southeast area? Are you open to programs in and other areas of the South, the Northeast,
Yeah,
Midwest, West?
I'm actually open to anywhere, honestly. I'm not opposed to going anywhere new. I think that's exciting, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm kind of open to anywhere.
So that's good. So if that's the case, then another, you definitely want to take in consideration the AAPD also.
Okay.
Go to that annual meeting. It'll be a lot broader than the Southeast regional one that you mentioned, and I think you end up having more schools going to the annual meeting than you will have going to the regional meeting.
Right.
Again, why are you doing that? You're doing that so that you can be seen, you can get the exposure that you need, but also you can get the information. You have broader access to information as far as those programs that are there. And it's quite simple, man. You can register as a student, and you'll have your name tag on, and you basically are going to meet anyone and everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have some business cards ready. You need to have some questions ready. Have a blank notebook. I would say bring about 3 or 4 pens in case the ink run out. You want to go and meet people and kind of introduce yourself as you are learning more about the pediatric specialty, but also learning more about the programs. I think that's what you got to focus on for the next, the next 10 months.
Yeah.
Because in May, all that you're doing that I'm recommending that you do, it should be done by then, because then you've got to start applying to programs. And one of the things that we have found to be one of the most important things when you're applying to programs is apply early.
Absolutely.
Be ready. When the pass application portal is open, you would have already had everything already filled out, ready to go, and you're ready to put your finger on the button and push it so that it's already uploaded. You want to apply early. Do not wait. I have some residents right now that for whatever reasons, they forgot to do a supplemental application. They forgot to add this, and they missed the deadline, which means you missing the opportunity to get an interview.
Right.
All the things that you're doing right now for the next 10 months, or actually 8 months, 8 to 10 months, is to get an interview. That's the next step. You got to get an interview. The only way you get into programs is you get an interview. Once you get the interview, then we'll talk more about, questions for the interview, how to conduct yourself, how to prepare for the interview. But
Right.
all the things that you're going to be doing for the next 8 months is going to be getting an interview. You got to get the interview.
Absolutely.
Yep. But I definitely have some people I want you to contact. Again, 1 or 2 people that just finished Pedo program. I have another doctor, Dr. Paula Coates, who's now in the DC area, who's a board certified pediatric dentist. Dr. Tawana Ware, who's actually on faculty at Indiana University. I want you to get in contact with. Dr. Nicholas Gordon is another person. I have a second-year pediatric resident, Dr. Chardon, who's can shed light into her process of applying to pedo. I've got a couple other residents that are in their second year, the second year right now of pedo in New York. One's in Washington State. We have a couple more in other places. So there's a lot of people that you gotta have access to, get access to, so you can start talking and to kind of put this thing all together for you.
Right. It's a lot of pieces.
It's a lot of pieces, but it can be done, man. You're in your 3rd year, and you've been putting pieces together for a while now. So
yes.
This is old. It'll be old hat, but it is something that you have to do, especially with this being a desire for you. And keep in mind, 50%, probably more than 50% of the people that applied to pedo during their D4 years don't get in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay.
Right.
There's not enough pedo programs, and they can't take everybody.
Right.
So I say that to say that that's part of the process too.
Right.
And that's why it is good to have a plan within the plan, which is doing a GPR or even an AEGD program, especially if they go to the OR, because you will be going to the OR pretty extensively in most pedo programs.
Right.
So you want to have that experience. You want to have that exposure.
Absolutely.
All right. What else? I think that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, things that I would recommend that you start on, going into your almost, halfway through your first semester of your D3 year.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said, if you hadn't considered doing the ADAT, you may want to look into doing such, and taking that exam more sooner than later, only because some of the information that you're going to be tested on is probably already here.
Right.
Whereas trying to wait for your D4 year to do it, some of the science stuff and some of the other maybe evidence-based dentistry and ethics parts and those case studies that are in the ADAT, you probably afford yourself the better opportunity of doing it sooner than later. So I would look into the exam, become a little bit more familiar with it,
okay.
and see how you can incorporate that into your process in becoming a better candidate.
Absolutely.
And like I said, not everybody's going to do it, primarily because the programs that they're applying to may not require it. It may be optional. But again, you're looking for something that's going to help you stand out and do what other people are not willing to do.
Absolutely.
And I think that personal statement is going to be key. And then also your letters of recommendation. During this D3 year of being in clinic, if you can maximize exposure to the pediatric rotation or the clinic there, or just people that can write positively on your behalf about your attitude, your approach, you're dealing with patients, all of that is key. So you want to be thinking about people that can write favorably on your behalf as you're working with them, and let them know about your aspirations, especially the ones that seem willing to help you and guide you.
Absolutely.
So has that been helpful?
Most definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't consider taking the ADAT, so
yeah,
definitely new for me.
Yeah, man. See, there you go. Most people don't, because they think of it like, oh man, please, another exam. I just took something similar to this. Or I'm getting ready to take something similar.
Yeah.
So, but that's, that's just part of the process, part of the lay of the land.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, man. So, let's plan on circling back up maybe after the new year.
Okay.
If you have questions between now and then, you've got my information. You can always shoot me an email at newdentistcoach@gmail.com. And I encourage you to look at some of the other videos that are here on my YouTube channel that talk about the same thing, so the more times you hear it over and over, it becomes part of your own DNA, your new pedo application DNA, so to speak.
Right.
and then it'll be things that you will just automatically start thinking about and exploring, and then the most important thing, implementing. Having all the information, things that we're talking about today is good, but it means nothing if you don't implement it.
Not that, right.
Meaning, do what has been said, recommended that you do. You've got to get it done. Right. You just got to just jump in, and it's going to be different. It's going to be something you haven't done before, but at the same time, you have to just jump in and get it done and do it.
Right.
Okay, man.
All right.
I hope this has been helpful. Yes.
It has been.
Are you a little bit less apprehensive and fearful now?
Yep. I feel like I have a plan in mind, and I'm ready to take action.
Yeah, man, you smiling and everything. You like you woke up, like you just had some coffee or something. Well, that's good. That's the purpose. That's the purpose, and that's the intention. And if you guys who are listening want to be smiling and have those fears kind of debunked and kind of minimized, you have questions about applying to residency or something similar to that, shoot me an email. For those that are watching, you can see, shoot me an email right over here at newdentistcoach@gmail.com, newdentistcoach@gmail.com. And be sure to watch the next video that's coming up right here that's been targeted just for you, all right? Hey, student Dr. Sanford, good luck to you. Keep in touch, and I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. See you. Bye.